All right, Grand Rising, we're back. It's Shay Seeking or Shalonda for those who know me personally. And can you open that door? Okay, apologies. I had to step away for a second. So, all right. So then, in between is telling, who those descendants were and everything. And all I'm just going to say is I feel like these are actual beings or people, creatures or whatnot that are on this plane today that you may think look like you, but they're not you. And they're going to be more than likely, some of them are going to be in lower classes again, or what would have been considered lower classes, because for some reason I do kind of feel like the playing field has been leveled, but some beings that, like I said, are older or have more of exalted levels of being, they would know more than we would. And so in that sense, they would have a head start. So when we think that we're on the move doing something, they already have crafted up or drawn up something else that, again, is what we're not really seeing. And a lot of that, again, I feel like is on repeat or whatnot in these times when it came to this whole demic. And it sounds like a plan, yes, demic, because we're going to go ahead and break down the word relief when we're talking Genesis 5 and where are we? 31. Wait, this says 28 through 31. So we're just going to go down to where Lamech, okay? So Methuselah, Enoch, okay, whatnot. And then we're down to Noah, okay? And it says that when his son Noah was born, Lamech named him Noah, meaning, like, in these, when we're talking about born, there's going to be a lot of etymology in here, but I'm hoping that this will be able to open some eyes. Born, barren, bear, see bear. Okay, we're going to go ahead and see bear. But let's go down here to where it says 14th century, possessing from birth the character, the caricature, okay, or quality described. Born poet, born loser, okay, innate, inherited, okay. So again, innate. I was even thinking inmate at first, but in one's lifetime. So again, to bear, let's see what born, being talented through inherited qualities. So again, like I said, with this whole mounting and stuff like that, it just go, please. With the whole mounting of souls or joining of souls or selling of souls or whatnot, I'm just saying, okay, or even just through a natural way of doing it, which again would be coming together in someone consenting. Or it also says brought into existence. It doesn't actually mean that this person came out of somebody's canal, right? Okay. And even when we're talking about that in the spiritual realm, because I think we're going to step into something that's going to say something about in the spirit world, we're talking whole different things. And if you're looking at this from entities, again, I'm thinking angels, but then thinking of it from a different angle, like what does it say? Born noun down here, British nuclear physicist, born in Germany. Oh, it's something about this Germany thing that keeps quantum mechanics. Abhorring is a related term. Okay, let's just see. Bear. Berry. Bear. Okay, to carry, to bring forth, to give birth, to produce, to endure without resistance, to support, hold up, sustain, to wear. Class. Excuse me. Okay, let's see. Carry a child. Bear, endure, give birth. Okay, because nations are also birthed. And also, oh, wait, okay, there we go. Wait, hold on. Give birth, or English, German strongly retain this sense. And Russian has bermenianaya, whatever, pregnant. And so, I want to look at this from a whole, we're going to go somewhere. Okay. We're going to go somewhere with this, and it's going to be somewhere that feels like, meaning sustain without sinking, bear something in mind, tend, be directed in a certain way. Yeah, or led. Okay. Cause I think I was even saying, looking at this when it's talking about when God had cursed. Cause again, listen to me. When we're looking at this text, you are looking at little g gods, okay, which would be those sons or descendants, or which would be male or female or both, in a sense. And we're talking about there's certain gods, there's Elohim or different types of gods in this text. Okay, so that's why it's like your God, the Lord, your God, not my God. When we're saying there's different gods in the text, and then you have the so-called gods of this world. Now, if that's just one thing, I don't know. What I'm saying is, I think there's a higher something within us that has been blocked, and that blockage was created by certain things, indoctrination, education, religion, and all these other things. And so again, we're going back to where we was at before, because this is what it is. And so, like I said, when it comes to this whole thing, some of us have been walking with God right now. You understand what I'm saying? And so we have visions and prophetic messages and things like that. So it's not even on no level what you talking about you ever gonna hear in any church. I'm not saying ain't no pastors probably keeping it real, but I'm just saying on this level, if they not talking about this, then I don't know what they talking about. So some of you are those descendants right now. Those sons that are actually really daughters and sons, or again. And this birthing is, we have to think about this in the level. It brought me back to, we know that it is on, just for entertainment purposes only, supposedly, on your television. When we're talking about even Jupiter ascending, it was a farm. Okay, so we're thinking about the same thing that's going on in Genesis, the same thing, if you don't realize, that's going on right now. Okay, whether it's by the grace of the gods of this world, or other beings, or you, who are more than what they have you thinking you are on this plane today. And what I'm telling you is, now I have been in deep thought. I'm just going to go all the way there with things that I've witnessed in my own time here. And not just, I'm so surprised others aren't. But again, there has to be a scapegoat, right? There has to be a scapegoat that turns this word. So, because they say, oh, these people will pervert the word. But again, we don't know which words are authentic. And every word in here is not the word of so-called God, of your pre-colonial spirit, the great spirit, or that energy that is already resonating within you. Okay? Religion brought a form of God as well. And that just seems like that might be what's controlling the world, and might take us into that again, because again, we have not been on the collective, and you have been taught and you have been led thinking that is by something, energy or spirit, away from those who carry the most power and the most weight in this realm right now. You have been, again, shown certain things, or and again, I think some of this stuff is happening subconsciously. I think some of this stuff is happening, just like a lot of things are happening in your sleep, in those stages. And I think that also you know, for women, for ladies, if you're listening to this, I think you, okay. Mm, should I? Okay. When we're talking about people, they say people didn't used to have a menstrual. I don't know if it's true or not. I just put things into, I kind of like take things in, put them in perspective to see if it even makes any sense and see if other information correlates with that at all. But what I'm saying is, even in the movie Jupiter Ascending, where was she going? They wanted to get her eggs. So I'm thinking that when we're talking about all these things and people, talk about the planetary and alchemy and all these other things like this, but I think we leave out the fact of other beings being on this plane, and that I think that when you have your menstrual, in a sense, it's uncomfortable a little bit to go here for many different reasons. I think some of this, when they're talking about having birthing and taking these children, this has to do with insemination. And we know we talk about that in the text. And it's also having to do with other things that are happening to women's bodies, to the womb, that we don't really see. And I don't know, maybe some of us have been given eyes to see this so that we can speak on this. And maybe it doesn't even matter at this point, because some of these works have already been done and they're moved on. And so when they talk about the tree of life and the life giver and the mother of the heaven and the earth, she is birthing nations and she is supplying, right? Okay. So again, I feel like this whole energy of this resonating with me on a certain level. And then again, within the past couple of days, it's seeming as though, like, again, we're going to put up a false idol. We're going to put up a false projection of, we're going to take the energy and things from the initial source, and we're going to cut that off, right? Okay. Now I see this energy again around me. Okay. And it could be because of works that I've done again, but works that I've done throughout my journey, right? To bring light. It's almost like that whole thing of Christ taking the fall for humanity. You see, in a sense, right? Because again, I feel like some of all of this that has happened with us waking up, rising, and sharing this information, this is the breath, this is the wrath of God. So again, there's going to be people that pockets was hurt during this, and they're going to be upset about some of this, because again, and it's like, don't shoot the messenger, right? I just hope you get what I'm saying. And so when we're talking about this, there are more things, you could call it sci-fi if you want, that are happening than you see with the eyes. And I think some of you can sense it, and some of you know it, and some of you know when we're communing with certain energies, or energies that are coming in and around you. I just don't know. Maybe because I just look at things, I don't know. And that's what I'm saying about the truth bringer, the energy of that, the Ruach that had been there prior to or with God the whole time from the beginning. Wisdom, she stretches her, you see what I'm saying? So it's just this whole thing of being able to see. And again, like we've talked about over time, a lot of these women over centuries have been taken in, treated some kind of way, or being used in their energy being sucked. So like energy vampires again. Okay. They've used the vessel. Okay. It's worth more than gold and all these other things. Okay. But especially in America, I'm glad to see that this is shifting and changing. The origine women of the Americas, right? And we're just saying that because that's just where I'm at, right? I can't speak on another place that I don't live. Had been at one point in time brought down to the lowest form of something. And now this doesn't just only have to do with these individuals and these entities. It has to do with what we allowed as well. And I'm starting to see that with just like different push and pulls and things in my life again too, that the source was, is trying to, or was trying to get me to see. And again, a lot of stuff is starting to come to fruition or whatnot right now. So it's just like, just going back through this word. But again, giving birth, even women in our intelligence and our intuition and all these things that we have been expanding on lately, that fear, that certain people fear us in that divine status. And so again, seers are going to be born, oracles, and that just means that even it's a change of mind, or your mindset has changed, the way you see things has changed, something has been opened up, the universe or whatever, the Milky Way, galaxies, cosmos have been opened up. And again, so we're able to bring forth this fruit. And, there are entities watching and things for a reason. They're not putting all this stuff into all these different towers and all this stuff for no reason. And either you're going to be, at this point, you're going to be quiet about it and you're not going to speak about this, because there's a lot of spiritual trauma that some of us have, and again, it at the same time is trauma, but it's healing. Just like people say that this is the book that enslaved us. And I would say, okay, possibly, right? But it's also the book that can free you once you see what it's really talking about here. And once you start experiencing some of these things in your own life, that you can testify in a sense. And it ain't got to be no just dogmatic religious way of speaking. And speaking in tongues is probably what we're doing now, right here. You see what I'm saying? I'm just hoping that there's others out there that have had these experiences so that they will be able to see what I'm saying. And if not, then then I can see how the person then that would speak this stuff, that I was just watching something that was talking about how people went back and went into the ways of their ancestors. And that is going to be, again, once that's swept under the rug, those that are trying to bring that way, okay, and show you that it's going to be swept under the rug. Those, they already kind of know who's going to be the ones. And, those people will be cut off in a sense because you didn't want to play the part. Right? Okay. So it's either, get to work, see, or, get cut off. And again, this time it'll be entrepreneurship and get to work for yourself, which is an awesome thing, I think, because it also, leaves a chance for generational. If we know this and we notice this and we take hold on that, it brings a way for generational wealth, and to help us see these things that we may have let go of, or people may have damaged them at one point in time and we felt like we couldn't redo it, and we actually can. But we have to keep in mind, go back to the beginning, to keep in mind what had happened was, it wasn't just because people didn't like you because what color you were. It was because of other things got into the way, greed and all these other things. The sexual intercourse, which also means the intermingling of different people in society and different groups, okay, with women that were of matriarchal societies in a sense, right? And the people that they felt like they had to join with, okay, in order to rule. It don't seem to be that way in other places. A queen can be a queen by herself, like Elizabeth or whatever, okay? But in this case, when it comes to the Americas, because that was a hub of the beginning of many things, which they try to make it seem like it's somewhere else. But again, okay. So, all right. So again, we read this already, Bear. Sustain without sinking. So even just like that's making me think about like when some of us have to take on the role of being the people that speak on these things, that it's like an ongoing thing. You have to, like, at least, even if you don't do it publicly, you have to at least keep going when it comes to this word like this to get a better understanding. So again, bright, brown, dark, animal, because again, animal also is talking about people when you do etymology on it. Let's see, bear. I don't know. This is going to be a long thing that I'm going to have to do today. And there's only a couple of, so anyways, you can do this on your own. It's very, again, don't take anything that I'm saying Once you start doing this and looking at it this way, you're going to see everything a whole lot different than you did. You're going to start seeing it a whole. So again, just to make it known that when you read this, like you've been reading it in church, and they've been telling you, oh, when this person was born, you just thinking that somebody just was born through their mother at the hospital or in the middle of the wheel. No, there's other ways to be born when it comes to alterations of the mind, when it comes to download, when it comes to different things that are actually going on like this. When we're talking about manifestate, all these terms that we've been now over the past couple of years have been coming back up into play, like manifestation. If we were still in tune with nature and in tune with the ancestors, we would be able to know how to do that properly. But right now it feels like we can manifest, but us others can manipulate that manifestation because we're not even aware of how to grasp that and how to bring it into play. But they're going to know who these particular women will be, these healers or these women that will be, very intuitive, and these seers and stuff like that. And those will be the bloodlines that will be watched more in these particular times. So we're talking about the life givers, okay? The women that have been supplying this plane, and I think other planes and realms with children for a very long time. In a way that it is in stealth mode, right? Where you may not even, and I'm saying this goes real, it really goes somewhere really deep and far. And I'm telling you that we won't talk about it on here, but I'm definitely going to see if my daughter can set me up with a Patreon, because I think we need to, I think we need to go there. And I know people want to think that, oh, it's okay, all this stuff happened and everything, but no, a lot of people don't even know how deep this goes. And in order to really heal, so that we can do things properly going from this point on, it feels like to me, it it should be talked about, because what's going to happen is it's going to be swept under the rug and everything. And see, I'm telling you, the key players of those are the ones that have had hexes and curses and disruptions and distractions placed in their lives in this time, turmoil, chaos. Even we can go right on back here. We can go right on back here to Genesis 1 with this Living Bible. And it says, when God began creating. I'm hoping y'all just okay with just vibing and going with this right now. What am I doing? Oh, okay. Create. To bring into being. Okay. Can somebody bring something into being today? Yes, they can. So what I'm telling you is something was already there prior to Genesis. Something, and those of us that are old souls, those of us that have been here many times before, you are experiencing a lot of these things, and is making you the black sheep of the family, or the one that's carrying that trait, the one that is also maybe being feel like you're being judged by society, that there's different stuff happening to you, and when you speak about it, or you even think you want to speak about it, things end up to manifesting to warn you against it, or to say, oh, maybe it's this, or you have these problems, when you know very well what it is that you're seeing and what you're experiencing. But again, that's the whole thing with sin and all this other stuff, is to make you feel like it's something wrong with you. And when you feel like something is wrong with you, or you're in the wrong and you can't speak up, or even how they keep saying this whole thing is just symbolic for me, that Israel should have been, or should be able to protect herself or itself. In a sense, I know we're talking in, what do you call it? Parables. Okay, in different ways, because I feel like this whole time that we've been going through this whole council, or whatever this has been, especially for me, and I can only speak for myself, that I feel like every energy and entity and level of something was used in order to try and maintain, okay, to subdue, replenish, until this earth. And again, I feel like even when it comes to certain energies coming in or being sent in through the spiritual realm, which I think we're going to talk about here in a second. It was also a way to try and um, till the most powerful mount, like Jerusalem, Zion, and Israel. Those would be lofty, giant women with expansive minds and making moves in certain ways on this plane at this time, being very fruitful with their offerings that they're offering to their people. But then at some point in time would feel attacked. But at some point in time, again, we're dealing with, excuse you, out. We're dealing with, please. Okay. We're dealing with, even we would have to say something as who would be a earthly wife of a particular God on this plane right now. And she would be treated the worst. Just what I'm saying. The heavens and the earth, okay? The earth was shapeless, okay? So when God began creating, with the asterisks, it says here, the asterisks, let's see, 1 and 1. It says, when God began creating, or in the beginning of God created. Yeah. Take that in again. Or in the beginning, God created. Okay. Now, the heavens and the earth. The earth was a shapeless, chaotic mass. Okay. So again, when we're talking about the heavens, I still think that this is talking about a mindset. Okay. This is talking about a mindset. This is talking about the things that were going on when our heads were in the clouds. A lot of us that had walked with or had been taken up, right? And I'm talking about in these times too. A lot of workings that was going on in the mind. A lot of us might have spoke or thought things and saw these works happen before our eyes. Whether it is somebody playing games on you or not, it was occurring, right? Whether it was a natural occurrence or not, it is something that happened, right? And some of you can say, for instance, that you encountered this, right? So, so the earth, right? So the earth was shapeless and chaotic, a chaotic mass. You don't think these people been worried about what we've been doing? You don't think that these people been worried in the frenzy, and you could see the relief. Oh, no. You can see the relief. I be telling y'all to don't pay attention, but don't. On these people's face right now. That's, again, when we come into view of these things and we can see these things and they're watching you possibly, right? Still. Or maybe they think they don't have to anymore because now they think they've regained something because they think something is back. But the fact that we're aware of these things, what does that do? Can that behavior still stand? If you know who you are and you stand in that power? Because again, now we go over to Revelations where people are going to be persecuted for the word of God. So again, the whole shapeless thing, the chaotic mass, that, and again, we can kind of even look at that as what's been going on within certain communities. And again, I feel like people are still pushing the information, but there are some people that just said, let's just, okay, we have this or whatever, we're going to go this direction, and that's just, and that's cool. But it's reminding me of this whole thing that I think is going to be coming later on, where it says that, certain people are going to uh, die like man, that had been not going to do that in the at some point. And so it's just I don't know, that's just calling my name to go in that direction for some reason. So again, when it's that chaotic mass, then what happened? Now we're starting to see people talking about spirit guides. They're talking about soulmates and twin flames and celestial and astral and all these other things. So again, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, because I've witnessed this stuff. I've gone through it. So I'm just saying. And it's almost like, oh, well, if you speak on it, it almost is a sense of like, stay in your place. If you don't, then guess what? You're going to be titled, or you're going to be vilified, and you're going to be looked at as a sense of a Luciferian or something, or going against the word of God, when really it's the other way around. See, and what you're saying, people don't want to hear when you come talk to your people this way. They don't want to hear. They don't want to admit that we may have been misled, and we may be being misled again, even though we think we know what we are talking about when we're doing these things. And we think we know what so-called God or spirit or energies we're serving, and we may not. And that's what I'm just saying. I'm not telling you which way to go or anything. I'm just saying that we should be still questioning everything. And for me, looking around, speaking with people, and seeing things, it's almost like those things are being separated from the thinkers and those that are just going on with the flow, okay, or the flood, okay, because that's where we're going next. And the Spirit of God was brooding over the dark vapor. So again, the Spirit, now we're talking about, is this the Great Spirit? Even the Spirit of God, even was that at the point in time when that real energy that was coming in from somewhere else, what would they say? Maybe like people would say from the ether. See, and with all this other stuff, it causes confusion in a sense when it comes to the word and religion, and so everything is like separated, and what's going on with us with the ancestors, the spirits, and see, and so I'm saying that Spirit of God was brooding over those dark vapors. Why? Was God the one that brought that breath in the first place? Because we're talking about a whole nother reset. We're talking about a whole nother, this happening all over again right now. And if the earth was a chaotic mass, was it a divine feminine? Was it a feminine aspect? Or androgynous, the divine masculine, or all, okay, and feminine, right? So these things like this is just a trigger thought. That's it. Because that dark vapor, you see they call it darkness. Even making me think about the Milky Way, or just the dark, I don't know. It even making me think about a womb, in a sense. So let's just look at this last thing here down at the bottom, and then I'll come back and we'll go into, if you guys are still interested, into, back into 5. A shapeless chaotic mass, or a shapeless, again. And so it wasn't formed yet, right? Okay. So these outside things that we have let influx or come into, are they really what we think they are? Because it's even like, I have this energy of this whole Cain thing, or Cain and Abel thing, where he was going to be feeling vexed or whatever, okay, and everywhere he goes to do this, he would be feeling like he would be attacked or afraid, or slew or whatever, okay, somebody was going to be after him, but it was an energy. I felt like what we're really talking about is that he was cut off, or everybody had been turned away from that way. I mean, I just see these things because I've just shapeless and void, over the dark vapor, over the clouds of the darkness, or the darkness of and waters, or even over the dark gaseous mass. There is no right way to translate these words. Oh, okay. So then we can look at it how we looking at it then. Excuse me. So we'll stop there, and I'll do, because I don't want to make it too long, and then we'll go ahead and finish out 5. I'm going to go ahead and just read the thing, and then I'm going to give you the words, and at the end of the video I will do the words in etymology. I won't, it's almost easier to do it as we go, but we'll see. Yeah, so anyways, I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Don't forget to let me know what you think. And if you like these type of videos, because I really feel like this is something here. And I've done them in the past, just off of just like freestyle off like the dome, right? But now the dome, I feel, has been filled with so much more, with experiences, with actual things that I have witnessed. So now when I'm looking at this again, it's like a whole, like how every time you read the scripture, something new. Well, now every time I'm reading it, considering the fact of the past 6 months, what I've gone through and what I've seen in this realm and in the spiritual realm, now I'm seeing, right? And again, anybody can say this is being made up or something like that. I don't know why. Nobody would want to do that. But at the same time, regardless if it is something that, how do I explain this? It's something that has happened, regardless if it is something being used to give us this perception or not. I'm just telling you because this is what I've seen. Okay. And we can see things and sense things on many different levels and many different scales. And I think that going through this spiritual ascension and all these dimensions and all this other stuff, that a lot more people are experiencing this. We may not have all the proper titles to explain it, but sometimes people that went through it can attest to, or agree or see what you're saying. Okay. So again, I'll see you guys soon. Take care.